dating. What advice? If somebody, if a group of women were in here and it's like, come on, they talk to us. How this dating thing? Because it's Mo is different now than when you and I.
It's different, baby. I'm grateful I'm not 56 and trying.
But you tried to say what you tried to say. Mo,
I'm looking right at you.
I know you looking at me.
I ain't backing down. You better take your old ass and get somebody to love you.
Damn, Mo.
Now I'm looking right at y'all. Let me tell y'all what Shannon needs.
Let me live my life.
Let me tell you what my baby needs. He need him an old fat gal who can bake good cakes, make some smothered turkey wings, who gonna rub his feet at the nighttime, okay, and gonna have a sip of his cognac to make him feel better about himself when he come home at night. That's what Shannon needs. You don't need no 26-year-old girl. You don't need no 36-year-old girl. This is your auntie talking to you. Take your old ass and get you an old bitch out there that can love you old. You're trying to hang out with these young bitches and you can't do it, Shannon. You just can't do it. Dang. When they want you to go for the 4th round, you looking at her like, bitch, listen, I need you want some money to go to Starbucks?
Yeah,
because I can't go no further. But if you get your older girl, when you get to that 4th round, she's going to say, hold on. Let me go get you some eggs and cheese and some toast with apple butter, because that's going to get your energy back up. I'm talking right to you. Shit. So he thought I was going to be scared. Yes, I'm talking. And I know an old gal, she'd be good to you. Her name is Elladora. Now, when you know somebody named Elladora, she's old school. Mm-hmm. Now, Miss Elladora told me to tell you. She said, I think he like red velvet.
Oh, I do.
I say, Miss Elladora, if he do like that, she said, you let him know I got something for him.
Yeah, I like
and she don't have no teeth. Come on, pick your glass up and clack it for me. Come on now. These young gals will bite you. Okay?
Yeah. Okay, I guess I gotta come on home.
Come on home, Shannon. And y'all stop putting lies out about my brother because I was in my field.
In a tale as old as time, we have a case messing up someone's life involving sex. Every great man will be presented loads of opportunities to have it, but in this deadly game that we call life, you make the wrong move and you get bit. Now, I'm not here to determine Mr. Sharpe's innocence, but I will use this story to quickly cover some of those pitfalls that high-profile athletes make, in addition to how us men who are not involved in the public, sphere can make these mistakes as well. Now, Mr. Sharpe was reportedly involved with this young lady, I believe Gabriella Zuniga, who was a full-fledged adult at the time. She was 19 when she met him, and they admitted to having consensual sex with him or together. And now he's being charged with sexual assault, battery, and the R word from other occasions she's claiming. I'm not one of these crash out type of guys, yelling in the street, going crazy on the internet or anything, but here's the deal. The problem with this story is there are no police reports, there's no R word kits, and there's really no concrete, irrefutable evidence that Mr. Sharpe was doing these things. Now, I would also always question someone who's chasing money rather than justice. I personally know a close family member who was actually a victim of the R word, so I take that charge seriously. And if someone is guilty of it, they should be thrown under the prison, or they should get, handled Old Testament style. You can take that boy out to the gallows. If he's proven guilty, you can do whatever you want with him. Just make sure he doesn't have a good time. This girl wants $50 million. That's US. That's not Jamaican dollars. That's not pesos. That's not rupees. That's $50 million. I'm sorry, but if I was ever a victim of something like this, or if I was ever to be a victim, I don't want money out. I'm not going to turn money down. But the primary thing that I want over anything, I want that suspect to get theirs in the style of Hammurabi's Code or death. I know that vigilante justice is frowned upon in the States, but in other parts of the world, you can end up chopped up if you touch somebody's family member, which is exactly why these cases should have irrefutable proof before you make a move, and someone's word is not good enough, because the punishment for something this severe should be extreme if you're found guilty. Now, the flip side to this, if you really want to stop potential false accusations, if something that's that's something that's actually is a big concern in today's day and age where people can say anything, is that if somebody is found guilty of making a false accusation, they should be given the same charge as what the suspect would have gotten if they were proven guilty. I guarantee, I don't make promises, but I'm telling you, this would make a lot of people think twice before spreading a false rumor on somebody in an attempt to shake somebody down for cash or for come up monetarily. I don't like the guy, but Jay-Z, he set a great precedent with his defamation suit against that shyster from earlier in the year that you guys saw. With these kind of situations, you either go quiet and you move like a ninja, you execute like a thief in the night, or you go completely scorched earth policy when you're dealing with these kind of cases. The problem comes back to a simple thing, because we're talking about other stuff. It comes back to a simple thing: a man's inability to see through BS and tell himself no. I'm not here to browbeat Shannon Sharpe. I'm a man. I like putting it down. A woman's touch is a gift from God, but I don't move loose. If it's not my woman, if it's not my wife, it ain't happening. I want to make that real clear. If it's not my woman, not my wife, it ain't happening. That's for me. I would suggest others move the same. But athletes, they have a profound obsession with knocking down women. They see a woman, when I say see a woman, it's not just no random chick, okay? It's got to be a woman they actually find beautiful, obviously. They immediately think they have to conquer her. You have to vet a woman before you lay with her. You got to make sure you know her properly and, get to know her as a person, etc., the whole process. But dudes, they just stick, their tool in anything that flirts with them. It gives them the light of day. It's almost like, nerds who've never had, not girlfriends, but crushes in school, and they don't really know how to handle emotions coming from a girl or a young lady. It's like, tighten up, act like you've been somewhere. My advice to the athlete, and not just to the athlete, but to all the men out there, you got to truly vet a woman before laying with her. And if you cannot see her as being your wife, I would suggest you do not lay with her, because the moment you do, sometimes we forget this, but the primary purpose of sex was to reproduce. Okay, you can get a lot of stuff, not just a baby, you can get STDs, etc. But the moment you lay with her, you have just opened the door to potentially creating life with her and being linked to her forever. So at that point, I don't care what she was before. I don't care if she was the biggest streetwalker, turning tricks, she's like a doorknob. Everybody gets a turn. At that point, she would not just be a bop anymore. She's not just going to be a sneaky link. She's not just going to be a fun night out. But you're going to have to deal with her being your daughter or your son's mom forever. If you lay in the dirt with dogs, don't be surprised if you come up with fleas. This isn't the only case, this can be applied to. We got Deshaun Watson a few years ago. That really, it's funny, the timing on that case for Deshaun Watson or his cases. That stuff really only came up once it was kind of clear that he did not want to be with the Texans anymore. And then, magic happens, and all of a sudden the floodgates open. He was considered a freak, someone who had some sort of sexual obsession with masseuses, but that's what opened him to attack. He was clearly, he had issues with sexual deviancy, but it wasn't a problem for the Texans before. But as soon as, he wanted to get out of there, all of a sudden they opened the black book, or they peeled back the curtain on him, and people got to see kind of how he's moving. He was moving loose. But this is a guy in his 20s, new to the money. You expect guys like this to make silly mistakes and be foolish like that. It's a problem. But when you look at how someone like him, or even Zion Williamson, how he's not disciplined with his women, is mark my words, Zion Williamson and his discipline issues, I called it out a long time ago, it's going to affect him long term in the future. You're not seeing the effects of it now, but there's a ripple effect you're going to see in the future. I'm hoping that he gets it together so his life can be peaceful and he can max out his potential. But these situations, these are things that you expect guys in their 20s and 30s to make. You don't expect someone of Shannon's age, to make these kind of mistakes. Now, when you look at how this is, the whole Deshaun Watson thing, the Zion Williamson, people talking about lack of discipline, it's kind of funny how life works, because the guys who are covering, his case, specifically Shannon, he ends up having his own crap to deal with. But the excuse those guys can make is they're young. This guy, Shannon, he's seen life before. He's got grown kids older than this girl. So it's kind of, almost inexcusable, the silliness that he got caught up in. And he really needs to not necessarily lose everything, but he needs to get a nice little, slap on the wrist, a solid pop on the wrist about his decisions and his moves, because you got to learn at some point being loose like this. You guys don't know me from a can of paint. You should vet everything I say as well. Never just take my word for it. But I would just say, just keep in mind, a few years ago when Shannon was commenting on Deshaun's case and these other guys' cases, now his stuff is coming to the light. Just be wary when you're listening to these journalists and all this stuff. You don't know what kind of stuff they have going on too. If they peel the curtain back on them, you might be surprised what is there, what's behind the scenes. The other thing that makes me think about, I alluded to it a few minutes ago, or about a minute ago. Shannon, he's about the same age as my father. He's in his mid to late 50s. My father and my mother, they've been married for almost about, basically forever. Shannon's making these kind of mistakes that I'm just like, him and my father, the way they move, completely different. That's one of the reasons I look at this. I'm like, you should be ashamed of yourself, man. You should be enjoying yourself, doing your businesses. You should be with if you're going to be with a woman, be with some chick who's on your level mentally, maturity wise. But that should tell you something. This man's 50 something and he's getting with girls with the maturity of the young lady that we see here. That should just show you where he's at in his headspace. I know people might look up to Shannon, they see that he got out the mud, became successful, which is an inspiration. But, at the end of the day, he's just a man. Just like how I'm just a man, your dad's just a man, your mom, you're just men, your moms are just women. We're all flawed. Never idolize anyone. I respect his entrepreneurial spirit and his work ethic tremendously. Shannon Sharpe is a hilarious guy. Love watching this podcast, on occasion. Some of the guests that he has on there, on his show. Like the most recent one, Terrence Crawford, that just dropped yesterday, I believe. But I really just hope that you people can learn how to separate the two, the entertainer / business person versus them and what they do in their off time when they're off camera. And just learn that we got to hold ourselves accountable. We got to be a little bit better decision makers in life, be more disciplined. And for those who are disappointed in him, I would say don't be. He's a man. Let him do his thing. He's going to make his mistakes. If your parents can't be great role models, then you need to be your own great role model and set the standards for your life. I enjoy Shannon's content, but don't be let down when he can't live up to the expectations that you set for him. The modern day athlete / celebrity, on the most part, they're an easy target because it's the money. It's not necessarily that they're easier targets decision-making wise, because they're dumb people everywhere. If you I guarantee you at work, a guy who probably makes really bad decisions with his money and women. And those are like the two things that'll take any man down. I can name you a few that these guys do stuff where I'm like, boy, you rolling the dice. You playing a dangerous game. But that's just in my life. I know you guys know folks like that as well. Athletes, think of that person in real life that makes bad decisions. And imagine if you gave that person $1 million just to have at age 25, 26, 29, whatever. That's what the athlete is dealing with. They can't handle making some of these decisions and handling all these chicks coming at them, because a lot of them are idolaters of women. And for Shannon Sharpe, his case is more of a symptom. It's not the disease. It's more of a symptom. Being an idolater of women and worshiping pum pum / material things, that is the actual disease. Now, to the young man who ain't never had none, I'm going to tell you right now, pum pum is great, but it's not ruin your life great. There's nothing on this planet that is ruin your life great. Enjoy your wife. That's personally what I do. Enjoy your wife. If the girl isn't worthy of being your wife, that's probably a good indication that you shouldn't lay with her. Guys, you have free will. I'm not a Shaolin monk. I'm not perfect, like I said. I'm not one of these eunuchs, okay? But if you can master the art of saying no to women, you have mastered 90% of the game. As usual, God bless. Don't be mad at me, be mad at yourself.